There's a tooth in the back of your mouth that arrives late, uninvited, and often has nowhere to go. It shows up around your late teens or early 20s, long after all your other teeth have settled in. And for a lot of people, it never fully surfaces. It presses sideways, gets stuck, or simply hides beneath the gum. Which raises a strange question. Why would your body bother growing a tooth that so often doesn't fit? It feels like a design flaw, a glitch, but it isn't random. And it isn't a mistake in the usual sense. It's a message, a leftover instruction from a very different mouth that belonged to a very different creature. To understand it, we have to travel back. A long, long way. Let's rewind the clock, not by years, but by hundreds of thousands of them. Picture an early human ancestor, long before soft bread and simmered stews. Their meals were tough. Raw plants, fibrous roots, chewy uncooked meat, gritty seeds, food that fought back. To grind all of that down, they needed a serious set of grinders, big, flat, back molars, doing heavy work meal after meal. And here's the key detail. Their jaws were noticeably larger and longer than ours. A roomier jaw meant more real estate at the back of the mouth. So a full set of 3 molars on each side, top and bottom, had space to grow in cleanly. Those back molars weren't a bonus. They were essential equipment. So why the name wisdom teeth? It's a charming little accident of timing. These third molars are the last teeth to emerge, usually between about 17 and 25. In many cultures, that age was linked to becoming an adult, becoming supposedly wiser. So the teeth of that late-arriving stage got a poetic nickname. But biology doesn't care about wisdom. From your body's point of view, these are simply the final molars in a very old plan, scheduled to arrive once the jaw has finished growing. The problem is that the plan was written for a mouth that no longer exists. Your genes are still reading from an ancient blueprint, while your actual jaw has quietly changed shape underneath it. Here's the shift that changed everything. Over a huge stretch of time, our ancestors started doing something remarkable, processing their food, cutting with tools, pounding, and eventually, the big one, cooking. Cooked, softened food is dramatically easier to chew. Suddenly, you didn't need a mouth built like a grindstone to survive. Less chewing stress across many generations is linked to a broad trend. Smaller jaws and more delicate faces. It's a gradual reshaping, not a switch flipped overnight. But the direction is clear. As our diet softened, our jaws slimmed down. The front of the story is well established. And the back of the mouth? That's where the trouble quietly began to build. Now picture the mismatch. Your jaw shrank. But the instruction to grow a full third set of molars didn't fully shrink with it. Evolution doesn't tidy up leftovers quickly. It works over enormous timescales, and it only removes a trait if that trait is actively costing survival and reproduction. A slightly awkward tooth in the back of your mouth? For most of human history, that wasn't a deal breaker. People still ate, still thrived, still had families. So there was no strong pressure to erase the wisdom tooth blueprint. The result is what we live with today. A modern jaw carrying an old order, a big mouth plan, stuffed into a smaller space. That single mismatch explains almost everything strange about these teeth. When there isn't enough room, a wisdom tooth can become what dentists call impacted, trapped against the tooth in front of it, or angled sideways, or only partly breaking through the gum. Some people's wisdom teeth come in perfectly and cause no trouble at all. Others never develop them in the first place, and that's completely normal too. And some run into problems that a dentist may need to look at. There's real variation from person to person, and that variation itself is a clue. We're watching evolution mid-sentence, a trait that's fading unevenly across a whole species, tooth by tooth, mouth by mouth. Here's a detail that surprises people. Not everyone even grows all 4. Some people are born with fewer wisdom teeth, and some have none developing at all. The buds simply never form. This varies quite a bit across different populations around the world, which fascinates researchers. It hints that the genes guiding these final molars are, in a sense, loosening their grip. When a trait becomes optional, present in some, absent in others, that's often the signature of something on its way out over deep time. So the person who proudly never had wisdom teeth isn't lacking anything. In a way, they may be carrying a slightly more updated edition of the human blueprint. Let's loop back to that opening puzzle. Why grow a tooth that doesn't fit? Now the answer clicks into place. Your body isn't being careless. It's being loyal. Loyal to an ancient set of instructions that once made perfect sense. Every wisdom tooth is a tiny time capsule. It's your DNA faithfully building equipment for a mouth your ancestors had, and your diet erased. The tooth is fine. The jaw is fine. It's the timing between them, old software, new hardware, that creates the friction. And there's something oddly beautiful in that. You're carrying a physical echo of a meal eaten 100,000 years ago. This is a perfect example of a bigger idea in biology, the vestigial trait. That's a feature that once had a strong purpose and now lingers in a reduced or leftover form. Wisdom teeth sit alongside other famous examples, like the tiny muscles some people can wiggle around their ears, or the goosebump reflex left over from fluffier ancestors. Vestigial doesn't mean useless junk. It means a trait whose original job has faded while the trait itself hangs on. Your body is honestly a museum. Walk through it slowly and you'll find exhibits from every chapter of our past, some still in daily use, some just quietly on display, waiting for evolution to eventually pack them away. But wait, here's a fresh twist worth sitting with. If our jaws shrank mostly because of cooking and soft food, then part of this story isn't ancient at all. It's ongoing. The trend towards softer, more processed diets has continued right into modern life. Some researchers explore whether our very soft childhood diets may play a role in how our jaws develop, since a growing jaw responds partly to the workload of chewing. It's an active, debated area, not a settled verdict, so hold it lightly. But it reframes the whole thing. Wisdom teeth aren't just a fossil from the distant past. They may be a live conversation between your genes and the food on your plate right now. Think about what that means for the future. If jaws keep trending smaller and wisdom teeth keep becoming more optional, we may be watching a trait slowly write itself out of our species, not in our lifetime, but across many, many generations to come. Evolution has no finish line and no plan. It simply keeps editing endlessly, using survival and reproduction as its only pen. Wisdom teeth are one sentence in that never-ending draft, currently being crossed out in slow motion. And you, reading these words, running your tongue along your own back molars, are a single frame in a film that's still rolling. You're not the finished human. There is no finished human. There's one more layer that makes this so human. We tend to think of ourselves as separate from evolution, as if it happened to fish and lizards and cavemen, then stopped once we got clever. But your mouth quietly disagrees. Every mismatched, crowded, or absent wisdom tooth is proof that you are not outside the story. You're inside it, right now, carrying both the old chapter and the new one at once. That tension in the back of your jaw isn't a flaw in you. It's a fingerprint of time, a reminder that your body is far older than you are, stitched together from the needs of creatures you'll never meet, but absolutely descended from. So the next time your tongue finds that back corner of your mouth, whether there's a tooth there, a memory of one, or nothing at all, you'll know you're touching a genuine relic. Not a defect. A design that made sense for a jaw that no longer exists, running on instructions too old to fully update. It's easy to see the body as a perfect machine, but it's more honest, and honestly, more wonderful, to see it as a beautifully patched together story, full of clever solutions, and a few charming leftovers that haven't been swept away yet. Your wisdom teeth are one of those leftovers, a quiet souvenir from the deep past, tucked in the back of your smile. If this rewired how you see your own mouth, imagine what else your body is hiding in plain sight. That's exactly what we dig into here. One strange, fascinating piece of you at a time, explained clearly and calmly. No scary talk, just genuine wonder. Every part of you has a backstory, hundreds of thousands of years deep, and we love pulling those threads loose. So if you're the kind of person who can't stop asking why, subscribe and stick around. There's a whole hidden museum inside you, and we've barely opened the first exhibit. Hit that subscribe button, and let's keep decoding the astonishing machine you live in, together.